All right, for those of you joining us, we're just going to get started in a minute. We're just giving everyone a little bit of time to get into the room here. All right, we're going to get started. I know we have a couple people on the line here live with us, so special thanks to those that were able to join us live. I think one of them is a classroom that's joining us, so thank you especially, and good morning to those that could join us live. For all the rest joining us at a different time of day, thanks for watching the recording of this. Before we jump into the actual program, I just wanted to go over a few things. This is a career exploration program, so this program is all about looking at options and trying to figure out what you want to do when you leave high school. So there's likely 3 outcomes from today, and we'll just kind of go over a couple of the scenarios. Today might confirm that you're on the right track. You have an interest in manufacturing, and this might help kind of keep you going in that direction. That's great. Today might leave you saying, I think I'm on the right track, but I still have some more questions. I need to gain some more information. That's good as well. And this is the third one, is also an okay outcome. Today might make you realize, you know what, maybe this industry isn't for me, and maybe I need to go back and look at some other options and figure out what else I want to do. So I'm here to say all 3 of those outcomes, they're all okay. And so whatever your outcome is at the end of today, it's all right. So why do we like you exploring careers while you're here in high school, or maybe even middle school? We have every now and then we have some middle school students watching this as well. Well, the average student is going to change their major 3 times. That's the student that decides to go to college. They're going to change their major an average of 3 times. 80%, so almost all students are going to change their major once. So you go into college with a plan, that plan changes at some point. College, I'm sure you all know this, it's pretty expensive. It's just a little under $29,000 in Pennsylvania to attend. That's cost of tuition, room and board, all that fun stuff. A lot of times when you change your majors, it's going to delay your graduation date, which means that's an extra semester, an extra year, and that's more money and sometimes more debt. So what we want you to do is use these opportunities like this one, get the most out of your high school experience, and hopefully you can start after high school, whatever your plan is, you can pursue that and stick with that plan. We have about 30 of these programs that we offer, manufacturing being one of them. We kind of have them broken up into 16 different clusters. So I would recommend you can check out some other ones that might be of interest to you. Some of them have already occurred, so you can watch the recording right now, and the rest we're doing a bunch from now until the end of April. So, and we thank all the people that have lined up and were willing to host these programs and be a part of it and help you figure out what you want to do. All right, one last housekeeping note. Number one, I'll say this multiple times. Thank you so much for everyone for being here today. Thank you to the Manufacturers Association for putting together our panel today. Certainly could not do these without our hosts, so we really appreciate that partnership. If you have any questions throughout the program, feel free to ask them at any time. You don't have to wait until a specific period of time. Just use that Q&A button to kind of have the little green circle going around it right now. Enter them at any time. I will get to them. I'll be, after I go on video and audio mute here, I'll be monitoring that for everyone who's presenting today. If you could, don't use the chat function. I might miss a question that gets asked, and also we'll just use the chat function to post any links that might be of use, or to direct you to anything that's sort of a resource that we might use. So if for some reason, I know some of you have a class to get to, you may not be able to sit through the whole session because you have to go to your next classroom. If that happens, that same link that you got here with today, click that again and you'll be able to watch the on-demand video. That goes live about an hour after the session ends. So you'll be able to pick up right where you left off and finish up if for some reason you get cut off. So all that said, I'm going to stop this sharing and I'm going to turn it over to Brian from the Manufacturers Association, who's going to take it from here.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Career Day with the Manufacturers Association. I am so excited to have you all here. Let's go ahead. Oh, I already screwed up.
Isn't it incredible? Stepping onto a roller coaster, you place your life in the hands of other people. But do you even give it a second thought? You're at the track, watching cars supercharged with speed. But have you ever stopped to wonder, who made these things? You're at the show, wonderstruck by the inspiring performance. But do you realize the performers can only be as good as the technology that surrounds them? We invite you to look closer. Look with new eyes. We keep you, your families, and all the thrill seekers safe on the ride of your lives. We are the teams building motors used in applications all over the world. We build components that allow complex mechanics to become a part of astonishing artistry. Who are we? We are manufacturers, designers, artists, and makers. We are electric. And we are looking for you. Will you join us?
So like Kevin said, my name is Brian Paterniti, and I am from the Manufacturers Association. I am so lucky today. We have three of my personal favorite companies. We have Tooling Dynamics with us, and Hershey's, and Turkey Hill. So it's going to be an awesome morning or afternoon, depending on when you're watching it. If I can get this up and rolling, we're going to share a PowerPoint. Here we go. All right. So like Kevin said, welcome. Here we go. All right, so welcome to the Career Exploration Program with the Manufacturers Association. We have myself and Chris Zimmerman, who is our apprentice coordinator. And from the companies like I talked about, we have Kim Miscavige from Hershey's, and we have Joel Trimmer from Tooling Dynamics, and we have Turkey Hill Dairy, who's actually going to lead it off for us, and that's Emily. So that's our agenda for the day. If you've never heard of us, which most companies haven't, we are the Manufacturers Association. We are located in York, Pennsylvania. We're a nonprofit that works with about 400 manufacturing companies. So what I like to tell people is I have the coolest job in all of South Central PA because I get to work with Hershey's and Tooling Dynamics and Turkey Hill and BAE and you name them, and I get to work with them, and it's really awesome. So that's kind of who we are, and we provide training services and apprenticeships, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, and all the career options you have. So here's some of the companies. You've probably heard of them. There's Harley Davidson and Tyson's Chicken and Johnson Controls, and these are all manufacturing companies. And a lot of times you don't think about food and where it comes from, but that's a manufacturing company. So Hershey's is manufacturing. Turkey Hill is manufacturing. Utz is manufacturing. One of the really cool statistics that we found is that the average salary plus benefits for manufacturing in this region or throughout the United States is about $82,000. So a career in manufacturing with benefits, average salary about $82,000. And if you didn't know, right here in York County, manufacturing is actually the largest economic driver in industry in the region. So it's, or in York County, 22%. It's actually larger than healthcare. There's a lot of jobs out there, and the careers in manufacturing, it's just an unbelievable opportunity right now, how many jobs there are. We have a brand new report that came out just a couple weeks ago. It's called the Jobs EQ report. And these are the most competitive careers in manufacturing that we need people to come into and work. So we need supervisors, we need industrial engineers, we need maintenance and repair workers. We need really smart people that can fix and set up robots. So if you're in automation and you've heard of robotics, robotics is a big deal in manufacturing. So we need those people that are really smart, that want to have a career. We need people that are into welding, and there's a ton of other careers that our team today is going to talk about. So the entry level salary for a career in manufacturing, this is just the entry level, $35,000 to $60,000, depending on what part of the career you're in. And then for the advanced level, it's between $60,000 to $90,000 for a career in manufacturing. Well, how do I get started if I want to talk about a career in manufacturing? In manufacturing, one of the best ways to get into the field is through an apprenticeship. So we're going to talk about pre-apprenticeships and school internships. And the York County Alliance for Learning that we partner with, we run a pre-apprenticeship program that I'm going to show you in a minute if you haven't heard of it. We also go with the on-the-job experience, the apprenticeship like I talked about. There are associate's degrees and four-year degrees in this program, or in this career opportunity. So the pre-apprenticeship that I was telling you about is in York County. Everyone who is in high school has an opportunity to be in this program. It's actually ended yesterday for the first year students. So those first year students, that program is over for the year. But if you are a junior and going into your senior year next year, this is an opportunity that you could join and come with us. We have a couple sessions that you come to here at the Manufacturers Association, and you have an opportunity to do some hands-on stuff in the shop with Chris Zimmerman, who can speak at any point. I just kind of keep rambling. But there's also opportunities. We actually have a scholarship for the program. So we take a student at the end of the program and give a scholarship to them for about $1,000. And this year we have 40 students in the program, so 40 between York and Perry County. It's really exciting, and you can reach out to Kevin or your school counselor to learn more about that. The pre-apprenticeship comes with a couple certifications. So the first thing is it actually gives you an OSHA 10 certification. So you get a 10-hour card that is good for general industry. You can take that and put it on your resume that you have OSHA certification. And you also get a state pre-apprenticeship certification, which is pretty, it's a big deal. It goes on your resume, you have those credits, and it actually gives you hours towards an apprenticeship. So, and that's kind of the number one way really to get into manufacturing. Our apprenticeship is the largest in the region. We do some robotic stuff. We do machinists. We work on CNC machines. We work on quality. We work on maintenance, mechanics, all kinds of awesome stuff. We have about 100 apprentices in our program throughout the region, and about 40 companies, including Turkey Hill and Tooling Dynamics, who are both in our apprenticeship program. And when you take our apprenticeship program, it actually credits you towards HACC and Thaddeus Stevens College of Technology. So every class that you take with us is accredited with those programs, and you can actually take them to the school. So you're getting credit towards a 2-year program. And just real quick, I don't know, I stopped real quick. Zimmy or Tom, you're both here. If there's anything you want to add to that before I hand it over to Turkey Hill, I can gladly stop talking for a minute. You're on mute, Zimmy.
I would just throw out there that anybody that thinks, any student that thinks they may be interested, and sometimes when you have an interest, but you're just not sure what kind of question to ask to find out, you don't need to have that stuff spelled out. Just reach out to us, and we can just lay all kinds of things right in your lap. So please don't be hesitant. If you like to work with your hands, or any of the video that you saw looked exciting, you think you might want to build some of that really cool stuff as your profession, we can get you into that. Just reach out to us. Don't be worried about not asking the right question. You don't even have to ask the right question. Just say, what can you tell me? And we'll lay it in your lap. So.
Yeah, and all of the school counselors work with us, and Kevin, who did the introduction this morning or this afternoon, depending on when you're watching it. But the York County Alliance for Learning, we work with that program. So you can talk to Kevin, or you can talk to your counselor, and they'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, Brian, I would only add that we do have a webpage. I think you mentioned in your presentation, I Explore Manufacturing Careers. So there's lots of resources on there to find out more about specific occupations in manufacturing. That also includes a live job board. So those are actual jobs that you can look at just for your information and see what kind of careers are available right now that people are hiring for. And manufacturing in York and South Central PA is growing. So employment is rising, the opportunities are great, and we have 3 great companies with us today to hear more about that. So thanks, Brian.
Yep. I am so excited to hand this over to our first company, who is Turkey Hill Dairy. If you haven't heard of Turkey Hill, I apologize. They have amazing ice cream and teas and all kinds of stuff, and we love Turkey Hill. So Emily, whenever you're ready, if you have a presentation you want to share, you can take over the controls.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
My name is Emily Kreider. I'm a training and associate development leader here at Turkey Hill. So my team does talent acquisition and cultural development. So we have a couple of recruiters on our team that help us hire for the different positions that we have opened. But my team and my position, we also help with the development, either your career development or development within the company as itself and its culture. So who is a fan of Turkey Hill ice cream and tea? This is definitely the job for you. Our company, Turkey Hill, started about 90 years ago. We're celebrating our 90th year anniversary. If you're good at history and math, our company started during the Great Depression. So there was a farmer named Armour Fry. He decided to start bottling the extra milk that he had and selling it to his neighbors. With this, we started out as a family-owned company. It was passed on through the Fry family and operated for many different generations. It was a company of one person. And as time grew, our company grew. We had the Minute Marts. We had a relationship with Kroger, which if you're not familiar with Kroger, they're a large retailer. A couple of years ago, Kroger sold the Minute Marts, so they are no longer the same company as Turkey Hill Dairy. They are actually owned by a European company, and you're going to see their name change very soon if you haven't seen it already in some of their locations. And our company is continuing to grow. So we started off with one employee, and now we have close to 1,000 employees. Our main plant is located in Conestoga, PA. This is right outside of Lancaster. And we recently acquired a new plant in Searcy, Arkansas. So our company is continuing to grow. Why would you be interested in working for Turkey Hill? We do have a lot of different opportunities. As mentioned, we have an apprenticeship program and internship opportunities for different students. We offer health benefits and tuition reimbursement. We actually have a couple of students that work for our company. Since the summertime is a busy time of year because that's where everyone wants ice cream, we have a lot of people that come over their summer break to start working for our company, or they work throughout the year and get the tuition reimbursement while also making a salary with this job. We have different career opportunities along the way. There is a tech level program that if you're interested, there's opportunities to develop your soft skills and leadership skills in order to make a little bit of extra money with each step of the way and also get that leadership development. Another benefit is you get all the ice cream and drinks you want all on the job. So if you want to take ice cream straight off the line, that's actually part of your job, to test it to make sure that it tastes right and it's a good product to give to our customers. So do I have any questions?
Amazing, by the way.
Brian is a big fan. I don't know if anyone is aware of that, but no, I'm not seeing any questions coming in at this point.
Okay.
Thank you, Emily. That's great. Great job. So up next, we would have Joel Trimmer from Tooling Dynamics. Joel, you have the floor.
And thanks, Emily. That sounds
Awesome.
like a real tasty job. So I'm getting thirsty and a little hungry over here. So I appreciate that introduction, Brian. My name is Joel Trimmer. I'm Director of Business Development at Tooling Dynamics. We're a metal stamping, machining facility here in York City, and are proud to be members of the Manufacturers Association and appreciate the time today. And I'm always excited about talking to students. I look forward to the time when I can get back into the classrooms and into the schools and work with you face to face. Because I always feel like I'm one of the individuals that didn't know what they wanted to do in high school. I had no real vision. I had no goals yet because I felt I was so young and I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And I didn't really want to go to college, but I felt like everybody else was going to college, so I sort of followed suit. and it didn't go so well for me. And it was very expensive semester that I had. But it was actually a blessing because I found my way into manufacturing first as an operator, and eventually moved my way into sales, which is the position I have now as business development director at Tooling Dynamics. So it's a common misconception that if you don't go to college right away, you can never go back. There's opportunities with all the companies that you're talking to today for growth through continuous education. Our company offers to send you to school. We have many people here who've gotten their master's degree paid for by our company. So that one advantage of manufacturing is we promote education. It's not like we're discouraging people from going to college. We encourage people to go to school, but we think that there's a good opportunity to grow through manufacturing. So what we do is we manufacture metal products that go into a variety of industries. Our parts can be found in automobiles. Our parts can be found in space. Our parts can be found on satellites. Our parts can be found in solar panels. We use a variety of metals, and then we use a tool called a die to stamp that out. Think of a cookie cutter, but very complicated. That's what ultimately makes our parts. Our parts are then put into some kind of plastic housing and sent out in connectors. So anything that you can push, a button that you push, the touch screens on your iPhones and phones, the touch screens in your car, those all require sensors, and we probably make at least some of the products that you're using in your day-to-day lives. There are a lot of job opportunities at Tooling Dynamics. Just from personal experience, I started out on the press room floor. I spent my first 2 years as an operator and moved into sales. So right now we're currently hiring operators. We're hiring die repair. We're hiring tool and die makers, engineers, automation engineers. And most of the people that we have in our current positions, like me, have grown from other positions. So, our top elite engineers started as operators and moved up into and sort of step by step work their way up into an engineering and have a great career. So Tooling Dynamics is really a wonderful place to work. It's a clean manufacturing environment. Another common misconception about manufacturing is it's dirty and you're constantly walking out and you're black from all the it's just not the case in most manufacturing environments. So many precautions are taken, so many safety precautions are taken to keep clean air and noise levels down now. That's just a different working world than it was once upon a time. Sort of piggybacking on what Chris Zimmerman said earlier, and Tom, one of the best things you can do is, get in contact with, your guidance counselors and come visit us. We love to have people. In fact, I have a student from the York County School of Technology we're taking out to lunch today. He's working on a co-op with us. I'll take you on a tour anytime you want. I think an easy way to remove your anxieties is to come visit us, see what we have to offer, and realize that manufacturing is a really nice place to be. That's all for me, Brian.
Awesome. Thank you, Joel. That was great. I was looking to see if I put some stuff in the chat box. It doesn't look like we've had any questions yet. So Tom, the companies offer internships, summer jobs, and co-ops. They do. So yeah, absolutely. And I was saying, Kevin, anybody that wants to put questions in, don't hesitate, because now's the time. We have these incredible companies with us. So
Right.
fire away. If there's any teachers on here that want to ask anything, that'd be great too.
Yeah, they get shy every now and then with asking questions, but that's okay. So I had a question. If for Emily, has there been any change in production with the pandemic in the last year since it's hit? Have you seen like an incline in production? Has there been any job changes specifically? I know every company's sort of been affected differently, so I was just curious if you had any insight on that.
We did ramp up production because Turkey Hill, especially, we still were able to put things on the shelf. So at the beginning of last year, when a lot of food and a lot of toilet paper were stolen off the shelves. Turkey Hill, we were able to supply the grocery stores and the Minute Marts with our supply. So we did ramp up production there. There was a couple of, we had a warm summer, so that increased our production, and we had a very good year. Nothing really changed. We have a lot of safety protocols in place to make sure that our associates are safe and that we're following everything from the government standpoint. But the jobs pretty much stayed the same. There were no layoffs. There was no decline. Everything just increased as far as production.
Great. And then I had a question, and this could really be for anyone. One of the, I won't say it's a problem, I'll say a challenge, is when we talk to students about manufacturing, and even sometimes parents, because believe it or not, parents are sometimes the harder person to get through to, because they have some preconceived notions from 20, 30, 40 years ago that Joel kind of touched upon, that you view manufacturing as this dirty, repetitive, low tech type of environment, which is, we're the opposite of that. So one of the things we kind of have a challenge with is when you hear manufacturing, you think line worker. What kind of degrees or backgrounds or technical training are you hiring, like that maybe aren't necessarily entry level? Because one of the things that I did for this program was earlier in the school year, I should say, we had an engineering program. And so I kind of sent out a message very recently to all those engineering students just to kind of once again reiterate, listen, a lot of you, if you do decide to go to college for engineering, where do you think you're going to be working when you graduate? You're probably not going to all go work for engineering firms. You'll likely, be at a manufacturer. So what are some of the more technically trained, maybe like college level degree jobs that you hire for at from time to time? And anyone can jump in on that one.
Yeah, hi, I'll jump in. I'm Kim Miscavige from Hershey. We have a huge engineering team at Hershey, which for me, coming from a non-food background, was a little surprising. But we have mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, food safety specialists, controls specialists and controls engineers, and also mechanics as well. So there's a wide variety of technical roles that we have in a food manufacturing facility that some people may not think about. Oh, and one other thing was packaging engineers. That's an area that and I'm sure Turkey Hill feels the same pain. You can't find enough packaging engineers. They're so hard to find. So, if that's an area that you think you might be interested in going in, you'll have incredible job security in that field.
So I feel kind of dumb asking this, but what exactly does a packaging engineer?
They engineer your packaging. So everything from when you think of a Hershey bar, a packaging engineer could do a variety of different things. They could actually design the wrapper that goes around it. So what kind of plastic are you going to use that's food safe? And then how are you going to seal that plastic? So, you're in your manufacturing processes, what's the right temperatures to run that particular product at? Same thing with how are you going to ship it? So when you're creating the cartons and the cases that the product goes in, all of that has to be designed. And we also have packaging graphics specialists too. So, in the food industry, the easiest way to get an uptick in sales in your product is just to change the packaging, right? Like Emily's smiling, right? Put new on something and your sales go up 30%, right? So, you'll notice with Hershey products, we're always changing our packaging, and that's because it drives sales. So you always need people who can help you to change that packaging, whether it's, putting a window on a product that you didn't have there before, or changing the graphics. All of those types of changes require somebody who knows how to do that. In addition to that, there's creating specifications that you need to put into your system. And so it's just a wide variety of different things that a packaging engineer can do.
That's crazy. You just
I have
don't
a marketing degree, so I love hearing the when the packaging changes, the sales go up. Well, and Brian, something, and this just on that note, sometimes people like me like to complain that when you get like chips, there's so much air in the bag. Well, then you realize that air is in the bag to help protect the chips, so you don't end up with a ton of chip crumbs instead of actual full chips. Similar, if you ever saw the vending machines with the mechanical arm, instead of just dropping the soda from 5 feet up in the air, the mechanical arm grabs it and moves it. I thought that was like a silly thing that they were doing. It's like, oh yeah, I paid $1, now I get a show and my soda. But actually they said as plastics were getting thinner and they were using more recyclable materials, the plastic couldn't maintain the drop anymore. They were having sodas exploding too much. So the vending machine companies had to come up with a solution to allow for the recyclable, more environmentally friendly bottles without having the product exploding all over their machine. So it's interesting when you find out some of these things that like every action has some other reaction, and they have to address that accordingly. So yeah, I'm surprised, but now thinking about it, I'm really not surprised that there's such a thing as packaging engineers, and that's pretty cool.
Just don't think about it.
Yeah, and you think about, so Walmart did a big initiative a few years ago. They wanted simple packaging. So what they're trying to do is drive out labor from their workforce and make it easier for the stockroom people to pull out product and put it on the shelf, right? So they pushed that down to their vendors, right? So then Hershey had to say, okay, how do I create a carton that instead of just this brown ugly thing, what's going to look pretty on the shelf, and what takes like one quick pull to open for somebody, as opposed to getting a knife out and slicing and all that sort of stuff. So it's the complete redesign of our cartons, not cartons, cases. So, it's always like adjusting to what your consumer wants and your customer wants. It's just packaging is an area where you just have constant change.
Crazy. You just don't think about
Kind
it.
of picking off of that, we had an issue there a couple of years ago. There was a trend that people would go into grocery stores, take off the list and lick the ice cream. So we're working on creating tamper-proof lids for safety and quality reasons for our consumers. And that's when we're also bringing in a project engineer to help design that and testing the different options for us that would be compatible with the lines that we currently have, but also make it easy for our vendors to sell our products.
I just saw Brian's face, and he's never been more outraged in his entire life. And to hear that people were defiling Turkey Hill ice cream, that is sad. I saw that store, and I'm glad that one went away. But that always surprised me. That I was like, wait, there's not a plastic wrapper on the top of it. But I didn't realize. I'm usually so intent on getting that ice cream so quickly. I didn't notice that there wasn't a wrapper in my way.
That's a heartbreaker. Hey Joel, how did the pandemic real quick affect you guys too? That was a big question for Emily.
Yeah, it was interesting. Our sales dipped a little bit at the very beginning, like I think most companies did with the uncertainty. But we've really stormed back, since August, and are sort of blowing away our expectations and forecasts. We're so busy right now that if any of you are watching out there and are looking for a job right now, we'll take you, because we are really, really slammed right now. And it's a good thing. I mean, it just means that the economy is going well. And it means that electric cars are starting to be proliferated out there into the market. More people are buying them because a lot of our product goes out into hybrid electric vehicles. We make parts for Tesla, and they haven't slowed down at all. So Ford, GM, all these companies are pushing towards that. So we've seen a big uptick with those companies. We also saw a big increase in our medical market. So the unfortunate rise of COVID caused for a need for more medical equipment, more ventilators, and our product is used in those ventilators and life-saving devices across the board in medical industry. So we saw an uptick in that. So there was a lot of pride in the building of making, those parts that were sort of helping to fight the pandemic, especially when we were starting to get a handle on it as a country.
That's incredible. So even during a pandemic, all three companies were still going strong. It's incredible.
Yeah, and Brian, to piggyback on that, I would say for Hershey, and I'm sure Turkey Hill is the same way. When you have a national crisis like this, people comfort eat. So, they're hitting the ice cream, they're hitting the bars. I know I ate more than my share of Reese's during that time. For the food manufacturers, we're considered essential employees, just like a healthcare worker. So our plants never missed a beat. And we literally couldn't keep up with the demand for our products. So our employees stayed employed the entire time. In fact, we've been hiring this entire time. And another thing that we did to help out with the community is to shift some of our production over to making masks, which was something that we knew nothing about. Right. We just went and we paid, I think we donated $1 million, bought the machines that we needed, put them in a warehouse that we had in Hershey that was sitting idle, and took some employees off the production line and started producing masks for the hospitals and our schools.
That's incredible.
So, it's like leveraging our workforce to work in totally different ways, and talk about our engineers. Our engineers had to go from making, figuring out how we're going to make new candy to how do we make a mask, right? So, it's constantly flexing and adapting to what the need is. So a pretty interesting time, I think, to be in manufacturing. And I think most manufacturers would agree that, manufacturing was one of the industries that was deemed as essential, right? So very few people missed a beat.
Yeah, that's awesome. Hey, while you're going, you might as well keep going, right? So up next is Hershey's and Kim.
All right. So I'm a Teams person, not a
Zoomer.
Not a Zoomer. So
make sure you hit the little button at the bottom that says share your audio if you have audio.
I did. I took it out though. So
okay. Okay, then you're good to go. You can see it.
Okay. Is it in presentation mode now? Yeah, it looks like it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, my name is Kim Miscavige again. I'm an HR business partner for the Hershey Company. And I'm going to walk you through just a little bit of our company history, who we are, and how you can grow and advance your career with us. So if you've ever been to Hershey, Pennsylvania, you probably know all this, but we were founded over 125 years ago by Milton Hershey. And Milton started his career making caramels and then moved into chocolate after many, many, many failures trying to get a confection business off the ground. And what his goal was to make chocolate in a way that was affordable for the average person to consume. So it wasn't only important to Milton to make a good product. He really wanted to make sure that he was making an impact in the community. So he created a model community in Hershey. And if you get a chance to drive around the town of Hershey, the area immediately surrounding the original factory, you'll see is beautiful. And those are old company homes that he provided for his workers. So he provided homes for them. He provided education and cultural activities and recreation. So, a pool and a theater were some of the first things that he added to make sure his employees were, had things to do in their downtime, and the whole family was happy. And that eventually turned into the Hershey Park that we know today, which looks nothing like his original vision, but is still pretty awesome. But perhaps his greatest legacy was the Milton Hershey School. And you may know that Milton and his wife desperately wanted children, but couldn't have them. And so the way they filled that void was they created a school for orphan boys to learn different trades. And over time, that school has grown, and it's an absolutely amazing place now. We've got over 2,000 students that are enrolled there from kindergarten to 12th grade, and everything is paid for by them. So every time you buy a Hershey bar, money goes to funding the school. And so the students at the school get free housing, they get free health care, dental care, and clothing. Nothing costs them a dime to attend the school. And then upon graduation, if their grades are good enough, they can earn, I think it's up to $80,000 for school. So pretty amazing opportunity for these kids. And that is at the very core of who we are. And I think it's one of the things that makes Hershey so unique is, certainly we're a for-profit company and delivering shareholder value is really, really important. But a big driver for us is making sure that we secure the school in perpetuity. And so we have kind of a greater mission than just, making our shareholders richer. And so Milton's vision grew into a business so much bigger than I think he ever could have imagined. We have more than $7 billion in sales annually. We are operating in 7 different countries. And for those of you who are local, there's this misconception that Hershey moved all of our manufacturing to Mexico. It's absolutely not true. Tell that to the 10,000 US employees that work in manufacturing. But we have several plants just within the local Hershey area, and then Robinson, Illinois, and Memphis, Tennessee. And, so we're in a variety of different US locations as well as internationally. And we have about 17,000 employees across the globe, the majority of which are in manufacturing. So most people, when they think of the Hershey company, they think of the brands you see here on the left, which would be Kisses, Kit Kat, Reese's, and Hershey's. And those are absolutely our core brands. But we also are in the sweets and refreshments and snacking space as well. So as our consumer needs have evolved and people want less sugar and less kind of indulgences in their diet, we've had to evolve with that and start adding on different categories as well, so we can continue to grow as a company. So, our vision became, we want to become an innovative snacking powerhouse. And we're doing that primarily through acquisitions. So you can see on the right, we acquired Amplify Brands a couple of years ago. So we actually manufacture Pirates Booty, Skinny Pop, Hockey Chips. So, these are probably brands that you have in your cabinet right now that you had no idea that Hershey actually owned them. So we're more than just chocolate. We expand much further than that. And so the way that we're growing or that we're bringing our vision to life to be a snacking powerhouse is leveraging our core brands, those chocolate brands that are made here in Pennsylvania, and taking the profits that we make from those and investing those into the snacking brands and expanding that space. Additionally, we're using the money that we generate to invest back into the business. So we have several very large projects going on at the moment. One that I think would be the most interesting to this group would be our Supply Chain 2.0 project, of which I am the HR leader for. And part of that project is really growing and advancing our supply chain so that we are more digital than we are today, and then expanding capacity as well. So our greatest days we know are ahead of us with all the investments that we're making in the company right now. This is such an exciting time to join the Hershey company. And I want to talk to you specifically about one that I think is most applicable to you, which is our new fulfillment center that we're building in Annville, which is just a few miles away from Hershey. And so this new fulfillment center will be a highly automated facility that is a bagging and merchandising operation. And so we'll be taking in candy from our different plants and bagging them and mixing them in different ways. And so when you get a pack of candy for Halloween and you've got 5 different brands of Hershey products in there, those are all coming from different plants in the US. And they'll come here to get, and also to our warehouse in Palmyra to get bagged into different variety packs. So this new site is really a test and learn facility for us. So we are going to be packaging products in ways that are brand new to us and completely new to the market, and leveraging technology that we have not used in the past or used in a limited capacity, and then also using systems that are completely new. So, it's a really, really exciting time for us. And so we're going to kind of learn and see how things go at this fulfillment center and then make those similar investments across our manufacturing network. So all of our plants are going to be, becoming more digital and more automated over time. They already are now, but, they're really going to be moving on into this, next wave of automation that's coming. So, we're really, really excited about that. This fulfillment center is under construction right now. The picture in the upper left-hand corner is from a couple of weeks ago. I could tell you right now, it's fully enclosed in, and the concrete floors are poured, and it's very, very exciting time. We are already hiring for this facility. It will open in October, and we already have a lot of the leadership team selected here, but we're going to be hiring hundreds of machine operators over the next several months, and maintenance technicians and engineers. And there's going to be so many different opportunities to join the Hershey Company through this site. But in addition to that, it's nestled right into our Hershey hub. So the great thing I think about being in this area and working for Hershey is you can not only work at the fulfillment center, you could go work at our Reese plant or our Hershey plant or our Twizzler plant or our corporate headquarters. They're all within a easy commute from each other. So it's a really great place to start your career, especially if you're interested in bouncing around and moving and trying different things and maybe even moving into other functions. We have a lot of people that think they wanted to start their career in one field and decide they want to do something else. And we can accommodate that, and we can create those opportunities for people. So, it's a really fantastic company to join. And I hope that you'll keep us in mind as you start making decisions about where you want to go next.
That was awesome. Thank you, Kim.
Hi, Brian. I have a question. I like to ask this whenever I get a chance to talk to manufacturers. I like to have this pointed out to anyone who's interested. And Kimberly, you can take it since we have you on mic right now. But when you look at manufacturing, what are some let's just say non-production floor jobs that are being hired for manufacturers? I know a lot of you on this call don't necessarily work on the production floor. Maybe you started there, but you don't anymore. So what are some of the other support jobs? Because I will say, I mentioned earlier, I have a marketing degree. Being, 18 to 21-year-old college student, I never thought for a second to ever even look at potentially working for a manufacturer, because the awareness wasn't there. I didn't have programs like this. So what are some of the support jobs that are not necessarily on the manufacturing floor, but are employed by a manufacturer?
Well, certainly, for those of marketing is important to, I think, any manufacturer, right? I mean, somebody has to help us determine what products are we going to make, what are we going to sell, and how are we going to do it, right? So, that's absolutely a function. You always need human resources people as well to make your business run smoothly. Engineering, you need people who are going to design not only your products, but maybe the machines even. Like for us, we're designing brand, like in this fulfillment center I was talking about, we're making our own equipment. We're not buying anything off the shelf. So you need engineers that can just design something completely new. You need R&D specialists as well. So for us, that's someone with a food science background. That would probably be different for Tooling Dynamics, of course. But hey, we want to make a new Reese's product. How are we going to formulate the chocolate? Is Hershey chocolate good for that? Or do we need the same kind of chocolate we use for a Heath bar? Like what's going to give the right consistency and feel to the consumer that's going to, make them want to eat the product? So we employ sensory specialists as well. Like actually, like Emily said, you get to taste the product and see, how do you like it? What is the experience like for you? Let's see, we have finance people as well. Of course, they're integral to everything. And then I think I said the engineers, we've talked about that previously. Really any function, any business function you need for manufacturing. You can't run a manufacturing company without that full complement of roles that any business needs. You need salespeople, you need it all.
Joel or Emily, do you have anything to add to that? Anyone specific at your companies that maybe weren't mentioned?
Yeah, the salespeople are really important. I'm glad you mentioned that, Kim. I appreciate that. No, the quality control is also a big one throughout the building. That there are a lot of different roles at Tooling Dynamics and quality. We have, your quality inspectors. Then we actually have programmers who are taking our inspection equipment and actually they're, programming these machines to do automated inspection. So you're not just sitting there looking at a part the whole time. It's a lot different now. They're fully involved in working on detailed programming, and that's something that some people go to school for, and they learn programming, and that's great if you have that background. But that's something we can train on at Tooling Dynamics, and I'm sure Hershey and Turkey Hill have the same systems in place at their facility. That's a critical part of the process.
Yeah, I agree. And especially with, the amount of automation that is in a manufacturing plant these days, IT specialists are so important. And that, and control specialists, and, that's a skill set, that it's hard to find, and absolutely crucial to the success of your operation.
I was just going to share that my degree was in internal communications and marketing. And I started my career actually at the Hershey Company in their IT department. I did a lot of their instructional design there. And then I moved to Penn State Health, worked for healthcare, realized I didn't like it, wanted to go back into manufacturing. So I started joining the Turkey Hill team. We have, opportunities within IT. IT is a big one. R&D, which again, Kim said that it was food specialist or food scientist. We do hire for those positions similar because we are in food manufacturing, but also our quality team, we have a lot of food scientists and people that have degrees in biology, chemistry, any of those sciences, to really make sure that the food that we are giving to our consumers and is safe and quality. We also have different people within our sales and distribution, merchandisers that will go out to the different stores and make sure that everything is set up appropriately, because we want to make sure that everything is within brand and everything is presented that the consumers would enjoy and would purchase over our competitors.
And I think one more thing to add would be environmental health and safety. So, they're obviously crucial to any manufacturing operation, and making sure that we have safe facilities and that we're, not discharging chemicals into the groundwater and that sort of thing. So they also have a really critical role in our manufacturing sites.
Kevin, it's Tom Pallison from Manufacturers Association. I just wanted to emphasize that everyone's had an incredible list of careers, and that's what's really distinctive about manufacturing, is that there are many different pathways into the industry, and both highly technical and more creative to production line. It's just a great variety. I wanted to let the folks know listening to this that in South Central PA, there's over 2,500 manufacturing companies in the region. So there's a lot of different companies to choose from. And it's one thing unique about this region in York, really Pennsylvania, that we don't have a single focused industry. We have pretty much any industry manufacturing you would want to get into, from food manufacturing like we saw, to the metals industry like Joel's talking about. We have defense companies, we have electronics companies, really anything that you would be interested in. So just wanted to make that clear to everyone, that there's a lot of different types of companies out there, a lot of different sizes, and a lot of different industries to really choose from.
That's a great point. We have a company in York and Lancaster that actually has a acoustics engineer position currently open because of their floor. They design flooring and they want to know how the sound bounces off the floor. So it's really diverse in York and all of South Central PA. That was absolutely awesome though, Kim. Thank you so much for sharing all that. I also learned today that we make Tesla parts in York County, and I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
I got a hybrid vehicle in October. It's out in my garage now. I'm wondering, it probably has some Tooling Dynamics parts in it. So
It's very likely.
I felt silly getting a hybrid
your rear cam, the 360 cams.
Oh yeah.
All the bumper sensors, your airbag deployment, all that stuff.
I have not tried out the airbag deployment.
That's good.
Please don't.
But I'm going to try not to try that one out. I'm just going to assume that it's going to work flawlessly if needed. But I felt silly. I got a hybrid vehicle and I was like, I don't really drive anywhere that much anymore. But now that gas is above $3 a gallon, I'm feeling pretty okay about it. I had a general question. Again, this could be open for anyone. Knowing that the majority of people watching this are high school students, is there anything they can do? It's sort of a two-part question. Are there any classes or anything they should be focusing on if they want to pursue a career in manufacturing? And then second part to the question, what are some traits, some character traits that you'd be looking at for anyone who you think is going to be successful in your workplace?
Sure. Since I'm off mute, I'll kick off. Math skills. Make sure you know your basic math skills. You know, it's really important. You know, you don't realize when you get into manufacturing and you start dealing with fractions, it becomes second nature, but it is so helpful when you can walk in and have your basic math skills down. Basic math, basic reading skills. The more you know, the more you can understand, the easier you're going to be to train, the easier you're going to be able to pick up what the trainers are trying to teach you. So I think the math and reading skill set are critical for these jobs.
I think one of the biggest skills also besides math and the reading and comprehension is showing up on time.
Oh yeah.
That's a pretty big skill. That's one that we struggle with. I think I can say for all manufacturing companies is, you know, we need people to show up on time, show up every day and be ready to work. And something that I talked about with one of Emily's coworkers actually was the thought of, if you're going to work, not necessarily on the line, but if you're going to be on the quality department, you're going to be on your feet a lot. So you're going to be moving and you're going to be doing stuff. So be prepared for 8 hours a day, potentially, that you're moving, you know, so you're busy, and it takes people that are in shape too. That's not all of it. It sounds bad, but yeah.
You know, I would just say for those of you who are in high school and are thinking about what's next, I would highly encourage you to take a good look at the trades. You know, this is a skill that I think a lot of people have overlooked for a really long time, and it is critical to the success of manufacturing. And I think I can speak probably for every company on this call. It's really hard to find good tradespeople. And, you know, I think that's an area, doesn't cost a lot to get your education in. You're going to make really good money when you graduate. Like, you'll make as much money as your friends who went and got a 4-year degree, but you're not going to come out $200,000 in debt, and you're going to have a job. People want to hire people with the skills or skill sets in the trades. So, you know, definitely take a look at it. You know, as Joel said earlier, there's this misconception that manufacturing is dark, dirty, and dangerous, right? And that's just not the case. So, you know, don't hesitate to explore that option for yourself. I think it's a great opportunity for people who don't want to sit behind a computer all day and they want to be active and go work with their hands. And you know, you're going to make great money. And, you know, like I can speak for like our maintenance technicians make a lot more than a lot of people with college degrees, and have the RV and the 4-wheeler and beach house in Delaware, and, you know, like you have a really good life. So, you know, definitely check that out as a potential path for you, because sometimes, you know, the college path isn't really necessary to get what you want.
And a lot of those maintenance guys go home at night and they're not on call all the time. Now, that's not true. Some of them absolutely are, but a lot get to go home for the weekend too and not think about it, you know? So it just depends on what company they're at. Joel's saying, oh, I'm on call all the time, but it just, you know, depends on where you're at.
No, that's well, and I had alluded to earlier about trying to realign conceptions with the parents, and that's sometimes, you know, Kimberly, what you were just talking about, that's sometimes it's not so much getting through to the students, it's getting through to their parents who are going to influence the student's decision to say, you know, because I grew up in Reading and I went to a small school, and it was very much laid out for us as, you're going to go to college and you'll be successful, or you're not, and you know, you're going to be in a dead-end job and your life's not going to be that great. That was kind of how it was presented to me, you know, back in the late 90s. And it was like, and so unfortunately what we're still fighting is the parents who kind of grew up hearing the same things I was hearing are now seeing their kids looking at being very much aware. The high school kids are very much aware of student debt and the impact that has for long term. So they're now looking at opportunities like this that maybe doesn't require a 4-year degree. And the parents are sometimes saying, no, wait a minute, you got to go to college or else you're not going to be able to do X, Y, Z with your life. So I always like to get that reiterated and get it out there that, again, not anti-college. There's plenty of jobs that require a college degree. And if that's what you want and that's your goal, then yes, you should pursue that. But I don't want any students thinking that there's only 2 options and it's no college, bad job, and college, good job. There's plenty of in between, room there to wiggle. So yeah, I thank you for reiterating that because I think that's important, and I'm always trying to get through to the parents on that one especially.
And there's another misconception that I just wanted to address, that manufacturing is just for men, that there's no women in manufacturing. And you'll see that there's a lot of women that can do the jobs and will be able to do the jobs, and there needs to be more women in the field.
No, that's so true too.
Yeah, and this might be something that the high school kids might want to look into, but we do have a new Women in Manufacturing chapter for South Central and Central PA. So if you're considering manufacturing, there's plenty of resources through Women in Manufacturing you can take a look at and really talk to some folks in the industry and what it's like and what the careers are like. So that's another resource for everyone.
Sorry, I was trying to find that really quick.
Yes.
I was trying to find the link to that just so I could paste it in there. So talk amongst yourselves.
Yes.
Well, Tom, I wanted to say just from recent personal experience, my brother was looking for work and he found a job through the Manufacturers Association job portal. It was listed on there. So I know to whoever's out there listening, Indeed, the jobs are posted on Indeed. They're out there. You can hop on Google and you can see it, and they may get seen. You might get, your resume may come across to one of the HR people or the supervisors, but the manufacturing companies locally in the area are so hungry to hire. They're you work with Manufacturers Association, some of the other local manufacturing groups. You look at their job boards, and there's a much better chance that you're going to get seen through those postings. So don't limit yourself to looking for careers just on a Google search or an Indeed search. Dig in, talk to your guidance counselors about getting in touch with our companies, getting in touch with Brian, Tom, Kevin, and we'll help you find jobs because they're out here and they're available to you. And we encourage you to do that. Like Kim said, I was one of the ones that was told when I decided not to go back to school after one semester, you'll never go back. If you don't go now, you'll never go back. And it's not true. I went back, I got a degree. I have a great career now, and it's because I got started in manufacturing. It set me on the right path. And it gave me priorities and motivated me and gave me an understanding of really where I wanted to be in my life without spending 4 years guessing.
That's awesome. It's really cool. Anything else to add, Tom or Zimi or Kevin?
I just want to mention I put that link in the chat, and in addition, because people watching this afterwards will also be able to see the chat, and I did also put in the link to the pre-apprenticeship page on the YCal website. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview on what the sessions are. We are currently accepting applications. I would say probably get it in as soon as possible if you're interested, because we are starting to have those sessions fill up, and there is a limit to how many students we can take. Hopefully we won't need to be as strict next school year with social distancing, fingers crossed, but either way, it's earlier the better, so that way everyone can plan accordingly. You don't accidentally miss out on one of the open spots. So that's on there as well for anyone watching this, and you're going to be still in high school next year. You may want to check into that and look into that program. But that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you for today. Thank you all the panelists, all the companies. couldn't do this without you. So thank you all for this. It means a lot to us that you were all here. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate everyone taking the time. And if there's nothing else, we'll wrap up. And again, just say thank you to everyone. Can't thank you enough. We're YCal. We're not the experts in any particular category that we represent. So we rely on people like Brian and all of you to get these great panels together and offer your professional insight. So really thank you for taking the time to invest in the what I call the emerging workforce that'll be here and working with us before we know it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Good luck, students.
Great. Thanks everyone. You have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.
Bye.